started using the Acura, but that was a lease. And when have you ever leased? You never leased a car. Hell, you've been.
I never have. No.
I see that as the stupidest thing you can do. I mean, to begin with, they tell you, oh, I don't know, it's good for 36,000 miles, and then you got to pay $1 a mile after that, or some ridiculous amount.
Yeah, if you go over the miles, you get screwed.
Yeah. And I'm going, I could easily put on a car in California. I could put 50,000 miles a year on it, you know, just going around and doing my stuff. And, you know, so I didn't like something that said you can only do 12,000 miles a year. Otherwise, you're going to pay more money for it. I want a car where I lease it and I can use it as much as I want, and then I give it back to them at the end of 3 years. And if it doesn't have dents and stuff in it, they don't charge me extra. Mm-hmm. But I could never see. I never saw a lease as a good idea.
No, I don't think so. And so the Acura was your last car.
The Acura was the last car. That I just turned back in. And then I had the 300Z for a while because I was out of work by then. And I had 300Z for a while. And then when I left California, I sold that to somebody. I can't remember for how much, like $3,000, $4,000. It was pretty old by then. And giving me money to come live in New York, you know. And since then, I've never owned a car.
I don't know what it would be like to live without a car. I'd hate that.
I haven't owned a car since 2004, 2003. Yeah. No car.
In New York, it'd be horrible to own a car, probably.
Yeah, well, you don't own a car in New York because, first of all, how much are you going to use it? Like, I'm not going to use it to go downtown to do some shopping. You know, what, I got to find a parking place, and if I don't find a parking place, I got to put it in a garage for like $30 for the first hour?
Wow.
You know, I mean, it's ridiculous. And if I did have it, I'd have to pay the insurance, which is very high in New York, because and then it would be garage, and I have to garage it in New York. That would be at least $750 a month.
Really? Holy shit.
So, I mean, why should I own a car whenever I need one, I can just rent it and get away cheaper? You know, so that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
$750 for a garage. Wow, that's worse than here.
Mm. And if you want to go, like, I think it was Buddy Love was in town, and they had a car or something. It was a Buddy or somebody like that had a car. And so they had to park the car in the garage while we went to the theater. We came back, $50. You know, they say like $12 for the first half hour, $30 after that, up until 3 hours, at which point it starts going up to $50 or something like that. So it was ridiculous. And I'm thinking, God, you know, I could have bought dinner for that. And it's all because they got a little space, you know. So, anyway.
No. But you had the first Mustang.
I think it was the first Mustang. It was the first year I think they came out. And
well, they came out. They were a mid-year. They came out. It was called the 64.5 Mustang.
Yeah.
And I think it was introduced at the New York World's Fair.
Then I might have had a 65 because I think it was the first car I bought after I got out of the military.
Hugely successful car.
A very successful car. And probably a great idea. You know, it was and they came in cheap. Do you remember how much the first ones cost?
I think they were under $2,000.
$1,800. And it was a sports car. I mean, it had among other things a brand new padded dash. They never had padded dashes before then. Before then, they had pure metal dashes. And I think it was Jay Leno who said once...
That's a good safety feature.
Who said once in those cars, if you had an accident, you simply washed the blood off the dashboard and sold it to the next guy. You may not remember this, but something like the Pontiac or the Oldsmobile or whatever had a steering wheel where in the middle it had this like giant spike. Kind of. Do you remember that?
Right through the heart.
Right through the heart or right through the cranium or whatever. That was a killer steering wheel. They never thought of safety back then. There were no seat belts.
No, it was unheard of.
So therefore people thought if you bought the biggest car possible, you couldn't get hurt in it because everybody else would get demolished. But it turned out that the bigger cars were more dangerous than the smaller cars. Why do you think that is?
Probably there's so much energy with all that weight when they're moving.
The velocity. Yeah. There's more velocity in a big car than there is in a small car. So you hit a small car, it can give. All right? Whereas a big car, it just stands there and gets hit. So anyway, if you wanted a dangerous car, get one of those with the spike in the middle of the boy. I can't believe it. And then so anyway, this was the first car with a padded dash and rugs on the floor. In other words, it was carpeted.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
It was Lee Iacocca whose idea was to have a rear seat because two-seaters just didn't sell in numbers, and the Mustang just sold like crazy.
Yeah, so it was a sports car with a seat in the back.
With a rear seat, yeah.
Yeah, kind of tight, but, it was there. For quite a few years they came out with that Mustang, and then one year they decided to go to a bigger, more sedan-sized Mustang. And it had the same kind of shape, but it just wasn't the same car. It just never was. And it isn't to this day. It wasn't the same car. But in tribute to the car itself, it must not have been that good because you don't see many of them driving around today.
They're definitely collectibles. And Steve McQueen's Mustang and Bullet was a cool one.
Yes, of course, but that was one of the originals, wasn't it?
That was 68. That would have been like the third or fourth year.
Yeah, so they were still making them, like a sports car.
Yeah, and now they're going to, Ford is this year or next year, that's going to be the only car they make is the Mustang. The other thing, all trucks.
Oh, really?
They're only making one car, yes.
Yeah, but that's not the traditional Mustang.
The newer one, that's pretty sporty, yeah. They got some pretty fast ones.
So they're making nothing but trucks now?
They're going to be nothing but trucks, and Mustang will be the only car.
Well, I'm sure they're doing SUVs, too.
And SUVs,
yeah. Yeah, because SUVs are big, all right? I mean, not everybody wants a fucking truck, Not everybody's voting for Trump this year. Would you wouldn't want a truck, would you?
No, I don't know why they're so popular. I mean, I can see, I've been into like that F-150, which is, they ride really high, so that's kind of cool, but... yeah,
but so do SUVs. SUVs ride kind of high,
Yeah.
And
you tip over.
You can take all the kids to soccer. There's no family that's going to buy a truck. Or they might buy it as a second car or something like that, but they're not going to buy it as their first car. They want a car they can take the kids somewhere, and that whole thing. So.
Something you and I never worried about.
No, we never worried about kids. No. And now with the prostate thing, I probably never have a chance of it. I said to my wife last night, let's just say she's over 75. All right. I said, something? I said, before I do any kind of treatments on this prostate thing, let's have a kid. And she looked at me and laughed. She's never had kids. And I've never had kids. Now, how often do you meet a couple like that,
That's pretty rare.
And both of us were entirely capable of having kids. It wasn't like she didn't have any eggs, and it wasn't like my sperm was sleeping on me or whatever. It was a concerted thing on my part not to get somebody pregnant. And the reason is that I years ago had a child by somebody who gave it away. This was when I was 19, okay? And I think that affected me profoundly, and so I was always very careful not to get somebody pregnant. So I would always ask a woman, what kind of birth control are you using? And if she said she wasn't, I didn't fuck her, okay? So that's how careful I was.
Yes, we have to avoid child support.
Well, yeah, you have to avoid child support. Big deal, yeah. So I just so I'm very careful that way, very careful that way, and so I just never had kids. And then when I was about 55, I thought to myself, I've had this big fear of having kids by somebody that I didn't like, that I've been so careful that I've never gotten anybody pregnant. Maybe it's time for me to do that. So then I started looking for somebody who wanted to have a kid with me, and I couldn't find anybody that I liked. I still was being very picky about that. But I'll tell you, remember my ex-girlfriend Kathleen, who still calls this show and talks on it?
Yes.
She, at one point, thought she was pregnant. And so she came to me and said, I think I'm pregnant. And I had the most... how would you think I responded to that news?
In sheer horror?
No.
You were happy?
My reply was, that's terrific.
Really?
Yeah. It was just like, sure, if you're going to have a kid, fine. We can deal with that. I like you. I said, we're having a relationship, and so at this point in my life, I guess I love you. I said, but, I don't mind having a kid by you. You'd be a very good mother. And something, later on, she got pregnant by somebody else. She had a kid. She's now on the show, and she's got the greatest kid. He's a terrific kid, which meant that what I felt about her, at least viscerally, was true. Yeah. She was capable of being a very good mother. So that never bothered me. Now, why have you not had kids? I mean, you obviously have some sperm who are tap dancing, right?
I didn't want the expense or the responsibility. I think I actually like kids a lot, but I think to be a good parent, you really have to put a lot of time into that, and I didn't want to do that.
Yeah, yeah. Is it a certain selfishness on your part?
Well, probably, yeah. I don't, I just like to be alone a lot. And
because here's what I've been told about when you have a kid. All of a sudden, somebody matters to you more than yourself.
I have heard that, and that's supposedly very good. But
well, I don't know if it's good. I like being selfish. I like, I'll tell you this. I don't think I would have gone as far in the radio business as I've gone if I was saddled with a kid.
Yeah, I think you would choose on a career of parenting. And
well, it's not that you choose a career of parenting, but every time, like, whenever somebody said to me, I said, I don't like this job. Take this job and shove it. And I would leave, and I would go find another one. I would never do that if I had a family.
Yeah, you're really anchored when you got the kids because you can't afford to screw up.
Yeah, you want your job, And so, therefore, and when somebody called me to go out to California to work at a radio station, I didn't think twice about it. I just picked up stakes, took my then wife, and we moved. Yeah. That was it. So
I had a friend who had 2 kids, and he was so miserable. He told me he said it took an extra half hour just to get out of the house, to get them ready and everything. He said he would look out the window and just envy single people walking by.
Oh, wow.
That kind of stuck in my head.
Wow. And tell me this. You see a woman with her kid, and the kid's like approaching 2, or maybe he's 1, right? Do they look happy?
No, they look miserable.
They look every woman I ever see with a kid that age looks miserable.
Or if you're in a store and you hear a kid shrieking, I always think to myself, "Oh my God, I did the right thing."
Yeah, yeah. Now, it's not that we don't like kids. I'm sure Larry's very good with kids.
But we just don't want to raise them.
Just he'd rather they be somebody else's, So, out of selfishness, I've never had any kids, and now at this point in my life, I don't think there's a chance I could have any. So, I'm happy. I'm happy. Hey, listen, this is the last one we're going to do before the new year, so I want to thank you for all you've done for us over the year, and hope to see you in the next year.
We'll do it in 2020, and I know you got a birthday coming up, so happy birthday.
That's tomorrow.
Happy holidays.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll be 80.
Same birthday as my mother.
Really? Is she 80?
Yeah. She's no longer with us, but she was December 18th.
Oh, okay. All right. What year? You remember?
She was alive with 1914, I think.
1914. Oh, then she's really dead.
Yes.
Yeah, long gone. Hey, Larry.
Long gone.
Happy New Year. Merry Christmas.
Happy New Year.
Happy Kwanzaa.
We'll see you next year.
Happy Kwanzaa. Your name is Brown.
Okay.
Happy Kwanzaa. And we'll see you next year. Bye-bye.
You got it. Bye-bye.
Still talking. This is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Hey, thank you very much, Larry. Sorry, a lot of you didn't hear, if you were listening to the video, you didn't hear the beginning of that interview. And part of the reason for that is that, I use a thing called OBS, Open Broadcast Software, I think it's what it stands for. And it's free. It does a great job. I get to all the switching you see here on the show is done using that. And I'm all for it, okay? Except once in a great while they say, oh, there's an upgrade. Well, they did an upgrade a couple of days ago, and that was fine. And then I guess they had a problem with that upgrade, so they've done another upgrade, and I upgraded to that. And what it did is it took off the source for the audio, the audio source. So it just didn't have any. So I didn't notice that they had changed that because the last time I changed it, there wasn't that problem, okay? So consequently, about 10 minutes in, I come back and I see people saying, audio that's no audio. I can't hear what anybody's saying, blah, 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 blah. And sure enough, there was no audio, and I had to go over there. And I went into settings, and sure enough, the upgrade had turned that off. So, of course, I don't know that because I'm not looking at the meter here and whatever. And that's the story, and it's a pain in the ass when these companies do that, It's just, I wish they just cared more, all right, about people like myself who do shows. And then, so if you didn't hear the first 10 minutes of the program, well, you missed a lot. You missed Bubs, and that's missing a lot, okay? But nevertheless, if you were listening to us on audio only, you heard the whole thing. So I may do something to fix it, and then again, I may not. I'm too tired to do that sort of thing. I'm too exhausted emotionally and every other way to do it. So I may just leave it as it is, and you can imagine, if you can read lips, well, you can't do that because I didn't have video on them. Oh, well, what the hell. Anyway, there goes here comes Richard Johansson, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, Richard. How are you? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
He's here. Let me bring him up as a
Can you hear me?
As a caller here. Oh, no properties available. Oh, that's interesting. Why is that? Oh boy, I give up.
I heard you talking about giving up the whole thing. Was it yesterday you saw it?
Wait a minute, I got problems here. Hold on a second. This isn't supposed to be happening. I may just sign this whole fucking show off tonight because I can't. This is ridiculous.
Maybe it's on my side. No.
Let me see here. Let me turn this off. Let me do quit there, and then let me do this. Okay. Now let me see here what happens. Let me see here. I can't do that. Let me see here. Is there anything? No. No properties available. Oh, goddamn motherfucker, cocksucker. Jesus, I'm so sick of this.
Yeah.
Hello, Kathleen. I can't get any pictures up of anybody. I know what the problem would be. Hold on a second. I'm going to go see something here a second. This is amazing. Let me see here. Calling, and then I go advanced, and then, allow NDI usage. I don't get it. I do not get it. Okay? Let me see here. None of this stuff works. This is ridiculous. It's this new upgrade. It sucks.
Yeah.
It absolutely sucks. Well, folks, I'm going to call off the show. Thank you, everybody. Goodbye. See you all later. I can't take this any longer. Fucking motherfucking cocksuckers. Jeez almighty. I just am so sick of it. Thank you, everybody. Bye.